Today we're going to talk about spiced beers a little bit. I've made, I think I'm making my fourth version of a holiday cheer recipe, which is a Charlie Papazian recipe from Joy of Home Brewing. It's my fourth time I've made this. 2 all grain, 2 extract, and I've made like a pumpkin ale one time. That's mostly about the spices. So I've made about 5 spiced beers in about 12 years of brewing, so that kind of gives you an idea of about how much I like them. A little bit, but not a lot. You guys like them? Do you make them? I thought I would just do a video here on this recipe. I did the mash last night, collected the wort, and here it sits. I've had it covered in this blanket overnight. This way I can do half of the brew at night and half in the morning. I've learned to not grab this with my hand because it's usually pretty hot still. Actually, let's see what the temperature is. It's usually in the 120 range after sitting overnight. So I like splitting up the brew day like this. I've got kids, you've got kids. That makes it, you know, easier than doing the whole 5 hours at once. So you can see it's still quite warm. Nothing is starting to ferment in here. It's still that hot, and I've never had any off flavors that way. But anyway, I'm not going to do the whole brewing process, just kind of a couple of notes and throw it out there for your consideration. And if you have comments about good spice beer recipes that you like, or certain spices or herbs that you like, post them, and let's get going. Alright, bringing this up to a boil, but I gotta teach you about this if you don't know about this. I heard about this one time called the hot scotchy. So, also it doesn't matter what time of day it is, so you add yourself a little scotch or whiskey or whatever, and then you take your wort, and if for even more decadence you use only the first runnings of the wort, but I didn't. This is my pre-boil wort. Ooh, that is yummy. Okay, so let's do a quick recipe rundown here. This is not exactly Charlie's recipe, but it's based on it and pretty close to. Let me change my setting here. Okay. Like I said, it's not exactly what he did, but it's close. You can look his recipe up, I'm sure. But this recipe has 11.5 pounds raw pills instead of 2 row pale, because what I have is a sack of pills now, so I'm just using that. Put half a pound of medium crystal, 2 ounces of black patent. I used 2 ounces of extra dark crystal because last time I thought it should just be a touch darker. And then to kind of round it off, I did 4 ounces of dark wheat. There's going to be 2 ounces of Cascade. 60 minutes. I'm using 1056 from a prior batch that I harvested and washed. I got a pound of honey, 3 teaspoons of cinnamon, ground cinnamon. I'm sure some recipes call for cinnamon sticks, but this one I think says that. This is about 1 ounce of ginger. I weighed it out. It's very close to an ounce, and you can kind of see like about how big it is. I thought I was getting more than an ounce, but so I'll grate this up too. And then 3 oranges zested. I know in the past I've done 4, but then the last time I only did 3. I think I just felt like that was probably enough. So I'm just going to use this zester, and I might do a video of that in a little bit. Alright, chopping up this ginger. I've grated it before, I think, but I think it's going to be kind of tough to grate. I'll give it a C+ for a grade. So I'm just kind of mostly finely chopping it, and you know, that's going to be fine. You just want to get most of the flavor and some aroma out of it. So I've zested 1 orange so far, and I was just going to show you quick about that if you've never really zested anything. I suppose some people haven't. The goal with the zesting is not to get too much of the white into the white of the orange, just to kind of get the orange peel. The white is the pith, I believe, and that's considered to be more bitter. instead of just sort of citrusy and orangey. So you just give it a few grates like that, and you just, yeah, I mean, that's about it. You know, you can, if you ever, I've used lemons and things, like dandelion wine, or used oranges. I suppose you could do grapefruit IPA or something. Anyway, I'm gonna zest up these oranges and keep going with the boil, and then this, like I said, this is just I think it's teaspoons of this, so that's easy to take care of. One more thing I wanted to mention about spice beers is you definitely want to err on the side of not enough spice as opposed to too much. So if you find a recipe that you trust and you think it, or you even know somebody that's made it, or you just know that it's a nicely balanced recipe, I'd say start there as opposed to just grabbing a bunch of spices and chucking them in. Because too much spice is definitely much worse than not enough. The other thing I wanted to mention is I use this double mesh strainer now, and it's going to work great for these getting these hops out, but also, you know, these spices, the orange peel, the ginger, the cinnamon is just powder in this case, but if you had cinnamon sticks. So yeah, you can see it collects all the stuff in there, even the hop pellets. Of course, if you were doing whole flower hops, you get those too, and then you just bang it out into another empty bucket, and then you keep going. So if you've never used one of these things, I haven't always used this thing, but if you don't like to do the whirlpool and siphon or some other way of kind of filtering the wort a little bit, you know, you sanitize the funnel ahead of time, you sanitize the whole strainer ahead of time, of course, and after it's cool, you don't worry about over aerating. You want to aerate right now, so just another little tidbit right there. Alright, it's all done. I've got about, here's my 5-gallon line, so I have probably 5 1/4 or 5 1/3 gallons. Just over 5 gallons of wort, and then I pitched the yeast starter, which was still spinning, so it was all in suspension, so I just dumped that whole thing in there. 68, 70 degrees right now, and hopefully it'll be fermenting soon. It smelled great. It smelled like a nice warm holiday treat, I guess, like a nice cookie or something when it was cooling down. So probably do a taste testing eventually since I've done this brewing video, and hopefully it'll turn out great. See you later.